This spiritual wisdom liberates an empath. So, for the starters, what is an empath? So, an empath is somebody who can very well tune into other people's energy. Sometimes they know it way more than they know about themselves, and I don't know, but there are schools, or there are studies that try to tell you that uh, yeah, maybe, and you have a childhood upbringing like that you turned into an empath, and or your trauma turns you into an empath. But I really do not feel that way. I totally discard that studies, though. I mean, these people, they are telling things from their level of knowledge, wisdom, consciousness, and honestly, I have very well learned from these people about what being an empath is or empathic is. So somebody who is yeah, somebody who's very sensitive, somebody who's who feels too much, you know or who can tune into, or sympathy somewhere falls in empathy itself. Empathy is a big circle, and sympathy can be a sub part of empathy. Empathy is way bigger. you know so even before people tell you what to do, you already know what calms them, what keeps their energy normal and okay, and you try to dance around it. So most of the empaths, you will find that they they become like that. I okay, so first of all, I totally do not feel that empaths are your trauma has turned you an empath. Being sensitive, being able to tune into other people's energy is a gift. It's actually when you unlock higher levels of consciousness, empath is one of the reward. Okay, being empath is one of the reward. Or you kind of merge with Mother Earth. And yeah, it's a very feminine characteristic. But yes, we live in a very yeah we live uh, but the problem is that empaths, their energies are very misguided, and their empathy is taken for granted a lot. That yes, over the time they uh, kind of start to dislike their own empathy, start to dislike their own care for people, start to dislike themselves, or start to think that it's a trauma. But no, empathy is a very spiritual gift. It's a very, very big spiritual gift. And can you just hold on for a minute? I feel that I have not given water to my pigeons. I think they're waiting. Just give me a 2-minute break. Yeah, so yeah, while I was giving water to my pigeons, I realized that yeah, we need empaths, right? They are the ones who care a little more, and we need empaths in the world. They have a role to play. And yes, being empath is equally a, a curse and a boon. I mean, yeah, it has its own, every coin has its both sides, and it's so true, so true, so true. So, but we need empaths, right? We need people who cares a little bit more about animals, a little bit more about trees, a little bit more about nature, right? We don't need, those toxic masculine heads who are, cutting through the jungle, making lands, making roads, making highways. We need people who care about locals. We need people who care about rivers. We need people who care about plants. We need people who care about the planet as a whole. We need empaths. We need healers. They are the real healers. So, yeah, as I was doing that, I realized like the role of an empath. Okay. So, Yeah, it's but there are, I have seen those schools, those studies trying to tell you that your trauma has turned you into an empath. You were never meant to be that, or something like that. Though some of their, learnings have been very useful for me, very, very useful for me. But I feel they're stuck on that little level of consciousness, which is fine, that they will evolve through. But today I'm really going to talk about some spiritual wisdom that really, really liberates an empath. So, as an empath myself, I have felt, yeah, I have always felt a kind of a sensitivity for planet since I was, as a kid. Also, I've always felt a kind of sympathy. Yeah, I felt a kind of sympathy, and then of course, I mean, okay, so um I don't know. They In my graduation course, I was actually an art student. So in my graduation course, they tried to tell me about the difference between sympathy and empathy, but I didn't really get it. But I'll give you a very good definition of sympathy and empathy. So difference between sympathy and empathy is that sympathy is, yeah, I mean, you sympathize with others. You feel for others. You feel pity for others. That's just one thing, right? You're able to feel somebody else. That's why you can pity them. But when it comes to an empath is a much broader circle. So an empath is very spiritually sound. So an empath will be able to pity you. An empath will be able to see your lower self, higher self. An empath will be able to see your timelines. At times, it can sense your energies. So sometimes it sends something that you haven't even told them. For somebody who sympathize with you, you need to tell your story, right? But for empath, they are very spiritually sound. Sometimes they just catch up. And most of the times, in front of an empath, you yourself are telling your own story. You yourself want to, convey your own story. You want to tell you just want to open up. You feel so comfortable, around these people because, like you won't be judged. You will just taken care of, held, and everything. So that's like empaths are actually spiritually sound, more spiritually sound than somebody who sympathizes with you, right? It's the same thing. You're sympathizing, you are trying to feel the other person, but in a much broader sense, in a much spiritual sense. So most of the empaths, they get stuck on lower levels of consciousness. Like, right, let's just come to the point that I'm really trying to talk about here in through this video. So most of the empaths get stuck in the lower levels of consciousness. So most of the times they will think that yeah, most of the times they will try to heal people when they're not ready. Most of the time they will try to yeah, they'll try to heal people who are not ready. They will try to um, mm, yeah, they will try to come down on the expectations of others without even people telling you. You will be already doing what they want you to do. It's, yeah, you kind of because you sense their energies. Okay, and if you're stuck on a lower levels of consciousness, and you still look for validation, or you look for recognition, or you look for love for yourself from people around you, you might do exactly how they want you to do. You will behave, and mostly you will find that there's a good girl syndrome you will find in women a lot, right? Because they are more sensitive, they are more empaths than men. So you will find always good girl syndrome in women most of the time. They will always oblige, will always be obedient. They know that they are the one who always hold the storm, who always hold the chaos for every. Have you seen in families? I have seen that a lot. For if there is an emotionally immature adult, if there is an emotionally immature kid also, the whole house will revolve around that. Like matures are left on their own. Okay, if somebody is really mature, they're left on their own, that he will take care of itself. But if somebody is really emotionally immature, the whole house will dance around that person. Okay, even if it's an adult, even if it's an kid, somehow, everybody will just try to calm their chaos, and they will always be the center of the drama. They will always be initiate the drama, and everybody just try to calm down that chaos and storm and everything. You will yeah, it happens a lot. you know Somebody is very demanding, and the whole you know uh, like they're trying to set you up. They're trying to totally set you up, that I am the demanding person and you have to always dance around me. And these kind of people, they'll always look for empaths. They will always subconsciously, unconsciously, always look for empaths. Not consciously, they don't work consciously. If they had brains, of course they work very up subconsciously and unconsciously. So yeah, most of them paths get stuck at a lower level of consciousness, right? They get stuck in ow mama, sorry, I don't know why ants are biting me today. I don't know, I have no idea why they're biting me. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah, yeah, yeah. um yeah, most of them paths get stuck at lower level of consciousness. They, because they know more, they see more, they dance around more, around the expectations of people, around, always be the calm in the chaos, always being mature. Always, yeah, an empath will always do that. And they will never get the credit. but but if an emotionally immature adult or if emotionally immature kid in the house, he does one good thing, everybody is clapping. If he does one good mature thing, everyone is clapping. But if an immature adult, he does two or three immature things, everybody is like abusive to that person. Everybody is like, we didn't expect that from you. So that is the kind of a world we live in. Very, very inverted matrix. Totally true. Inverted matrix. We live in a very, yeah, yeah. I've always felt that I lived in some inverted world. like, like top should be down and down should be up. And for most part, they should be one. Like where the sky and earth meets, they should be one actually. Yeah, leave it. I get a little poetic and deep and mysterious at times. Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So what really liberates an empath? A spiritual wisdom, a certain kind of spiritual. Always, as you move and ascend and evolve, you unlock those spiritual wisdom. And a wisdom that can really liberate an empath is knowing that you shouldn't help somebody who isn't ready. You cannot help everyone, and you shouldn't help everyone. And that's how the world works. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the story of Manu. So I've already told this story in one of my videos, but let me just, yeah, I mean, that story is needed in this context. So Manu was a king, okay, and of course, very spiritually sound person. And what happened that Vishnuji came to him. Actually, it was a time of yuga change, and we were moving to. So there was a pralay that was happening. Okay, I don't know from which yug to which yug they were moving. I don't know, but there was a yuga change that was happening, and it was a time of pralay, a natural disaster. Earth is like, I am done with you guys. I'm done with you humans. You know, because you are not ready to understand. So you need to get recycled. You need to come back again in a new body, new ways, you know, new, yeah, you all need to just fuck off right now from my belly. Okay. And it's so easy for Earth to do. It's Earth is like, it just, it's like snaps. It's like, like how I just put the ant away from my feet right now. It's just like that. Earth is like, enough of you guys. Okay. So there comes a point where, uh, why are all these ants? What's happening? I don't know. Wherever I go, they come. what's what's with me? Don't know. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, where was I? So yeah, so there was this pralay coming, and there was this natural disaster coming. A flood was coming, basically. So, and that could just wipe out the entire humanity. So that kind of a flood was coming, right? And I think there's a similar story in Bible too. I think with the name of Noah or something like that. Something like this. If I am not sure exactly, but yeah, I think there's a similar story in the Bible as well. So Vishnuji comes to Manu. So Vishnuji is a god here, is a Hindu god. So yeah, he's the one who maintains, basically, maintains and preserves uh, the order of the planet. So yeah, so Vishnuji came to him and said that you need to build a boat, okay, and you need to carry away all the people. I mean, and then while he was leaving, giving him all this message, giving him all the directions how to build a boat, this, that. While leaving, he said one thing: Manu, look, nobody, no, not everybody is going to listen to you. Not everybody is going to listen to you, and it's going to be fine. Leave them on that part. Vishnuji said that. And exactly that what happened. People who were high in level of consciousness, they were high in the levels of consciousness. When Manu said that pralay is coming, flood is coming, everyone was like, are you crazy? You're gonna build a boat? Like, flood is coming and we need to go into the water. Have you lost it? Everybody was like that to Manu. Most of the people were like, and Manu was a king, okay? He's a king. But of course, when a flood comes, nobody is a king. They're like, ah, bhad mein ja, king kya hota hai? Sab mar rahe hai. Koi king wing nahi hai. So, isse pehle they were all very obedient, okay, to this king, and it was like, you are great, your majesty. They all sing poems for kings, right? They all flatter the kings, you know that, right? They do that a lot. But when death arrives, everybody's like, "Bhad mein gaya king," and everything. And everybody's like, and everybody started to say to Manu that you are crazy. You are totally crazy for telling us that a flood is coming. We need to dive right back into that flood on a boat. Are you crazy? We will just drown in the water. We should rather move away from the water. And you're talking about going into the water? So everybody told that to Manu. And Manu just remembered what Vishnuji said, and not everybody is going to listen to you. But then there were people who believed in the wisdom of Manu, who believed that he had a higher level of consciousness. They had eyes to look through. He had a high level of consciousness. So they knew how he worked through in this yoga, and they could believe him, they could trust him. So they said, okay, we're coming. And very few people got with him on the boat. And that's how life works. And that's exactly how life works. So right now, yeah, not Vishnuji said that not everybody is going to be ready. And of course, eventually eventually a Rakshas also, and a lot of troubles came, okay, on the boat. A lot of troubles came. A Rakshas came and he said, I'll not let you go. I cannot let you pass, this, that. But eventually Vishnuji took the form of a fish, and they saved the boat and all the people. And then, the life continued on earth with this small bunch of people. So this is the truth. This has always been the truth. Sometimes you have to leave people alone on their karma. You have to leave people alone on their destiny. Because if you don't, imagine if Manu didn't leave these people. He didn't build the pot. He was like stuck and he's like, no, I'm going to save him. I'm going to save everybody. You cannot save everybody. You cannot save everybody. Because people have gotten so low on their level of consciousness, they've gotten so down in the level of consciousness कि आप अब सबको नहीं बचा सकते हो. Yes, they have chances of saving themselves. I am not saying that they are doomed. They're doomed. No, they're not doomed. They all have chances of saving themselves. But as cliche as it sounds, you must have. I have read that in my moral science book a lot. God help those who help themselves. In our diaries, almanacs also, there this quote was written, and and thought of the day was also like this: God helps those who help themselves. And I was like, what is happening in the assembly? But even as a teacher, I was like, I was so bored of assembly. Even as a teacher, I was so bored of assembly. I was like, what is going on? People are so superficial. Nobody's speaking their mind out. If they would really speak their mind out in assembly, they would be like, I don't want to come to school. All the kids, teachers, everybody included. So yeah. So I have heard this cliche thought like every other time that God helps those who help themselves. But this hits harder when you're a spiritual journey and you see through, you go through these things, situations, and yeah, sometimes God puts that learning in your face and you're like, oh my God really helped those who help themselves. So and I have really tried to help people a lot, really try to help people a lot, because I could just sense so much more. But the more I helped them, since they were not ready, they used it for their own destruction. Not only in their destruction, they used it for my destruction as well. I swear, I have, as a healer, it's even I as a healer, I have also said that I am a healer, I'm a spiritual healer, and this and that. But a real spiritual healer is actually a medium, only a medium. And trust me, not everybody wants to heal. People take in wisdom, people try to, people are greedy basically. If they have not worked on themselves, they're just greedy for your energy. They like your nourishment, they like your attention. And वैसे भी an empath's attention is very expensive. Empath's focus is very expensive. Everybody wants that. uh, Subconsciously, unconsciously, they all feel it, right? So yeah um yeah where was I? Shit, forgot. I've tried to help people, and most of the time I've tried to help people, I've really taken on their karmas, because yeah I won't be able to explain that, or maybe I just don't want to explain that part of my life. But it's true. It's true. You don't try to help somebody when they're not ready. And most of the time, like 99 out of 100 people just don't want to transform themselves. They just try to show it to you that they want to transform themselves, or, but they don't want to. Like, they're really rare people who really want to transform themselves, at least right now on planet Earth. And I'm very sure in the coming times, everybody would want to. Because, of course, when people see, the problem with us is that that's what I, talked about it in one of my videos, that there will be only a few, who will volunteer and change the yuga. The rest will have no choice than to just, abide by the time. They are the slaves of time. They will always be slaves of time. And these people who are slaves of time will go through seasons again and again. Will go through Satyuga, then Kali Yuga, then what are the other two yugas? Oh wow. It was a pretty bird. Seriously. It was very calm. Wow. And had a very beautiful neck. And it just flew away like such a calm, I don't know. Yeah, that's why I like to fill my, I keep we keep a vessel here, um, a terracotta vessel here on the terrace, so that birds can always come and they can drink water. And it's always a pleasure to watch birds. Yeah, always a pleasure to watch them. Where was I? Yeah, when seasons change, Satyuga, Kalyuga, then there are always these people are always slaves of time. They will only change because the neighbor is changing. You can't help it. These are the people who will not get on the boat. When Manu said that I am a messenger of God, and trust me and this and that, and gives all his wisdom. And no, people, there'll always be people who will get on the boat, and there will always be people who will not get on the boat. you know People, they actually lose their levels of consciousness. They lose energy. They lose energy, and if they lose energy, they cannot see the truth. They cannot see what's right and what's wrong. They cannot discern. Yeah. And most of the times, as an empath, the more and more I am unlocking my spiritual levels of consciousness and everything, the more and more I understand that I can't really change the world, and I shouldn't, and I should not at all. The long ago, I guess been, I don't know, 2 years or something. I talked about it. Like, it's time for the thirsty to come to the well. And not the well to go to the thirsty, like, let me put you, no, it's the time is coming like that. you know People who will get on a boat with you when the flood is coming, these people will find their manu. These people will find, their messengers of God. The rest will call you crazy and like, we are going away from water. We are going away from water. So, yeah, and these people will be swiped away and recycled and rekindled. And of course, life force will find a new way. But, yeah, but there's always a but to it. And I don't want to talk about the but. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how it is. And I've seen it with my own eyes. I have felt it with all my being that, yeah, yeah, and it has liberated me as an empath. It has liberated me that I really can't help everyone. And the more and more I see, the more and more, that's why they always show Mahadeva, they always show Shiva closing his eyes and sitting like that. Like, he knows everything. The Trikaldarshi, he even knows the coming times, future time, past, present, future. And he should be in hyperactivity, right? He should be in hyperactivity, right? Because he knows so much. He knows what other person will do. He knows what demons will do. He knows what devas will do. He knows every fucking thing possible on the planet that's going on. And he's most of the time just sitting like eyes closed and everything. And I think it's a beautiful depiction of Shiva, you know? Yeah, it's a beautiful. Even when Sati got into fire, got into Agni, of course, he danced. That was, the pain of seeing. Yeah, seeing is, when you see more, when you're an empath, it's sometimes it's so painful. And sometimes it's good too. Sometimes you have fun too. Sometimes you can have fun. Sometimes it's beautiful to see more. Sometimes it's really painful. So, yeah. And maybe he knew that Sati is going and, something disaster is going to happen, and he tried to stop her, but that's life. Like, he had to let her go, and she had to take her own lesson. And of course, that was the one time he got into hyperactivity and got into beautiful Tandava, because he has seen so much rest, his activity is so beautiful. He got into Tandava, is full of pain and everything of that sort. But most of the time, you will see that he's sitting in tapasya, and Devi would come to him. He's like, demons are about to do this. Demons are about to do that. And he's like, chill, let them do what they're going to do. They will drown in their own. He has seen so much. His Trishul holds so much wisdom. His Trishul holds so immense wisdom, and he knows. He's seen so much that now he knows how to rest. He knows how when to get into action. That even Krishna, it's a beautiful story, where this one man, I'm forgetting his name, so bad with names, so bad with memory, yaar. But I somehow remember the story. I can't remember these character names somehow. So yeah, this one person who comes and gives 100 abusive words. You come and speaks 100 abusive words to Krishna, and Krishna is like, he's listening to all the 99 times, but at one time he says, you speak one more and I'll bring my Sudarshan Chakra, and so it's actually, the more and more you see, the more and more spiritual you become, the more and more you unlock the levels of consciousness, the more and more you realize there's the probability of doing action, the probability of getting into karma, is actually 1 out of 100. It's actually 1 out of 100. For 99 times you see, you fucking see. And in this era of disclosures which are happening, as I said in one of my videos, that it's you have to drink that poison. You have to drink it, because after this, good things are also coming. So yeah. So yeah, for 99 times you see, but that one time you take action if it's needed. And most of the time, universe will somehow, create that, one time where you can actually get into action. you know uh, yeah, that's how Mother Earth also does. She gets into action once in a while. She's like, I'm getting the flood, I am getting this done, I am getting that done. You fools, you are doing a lot bad. So she gets into action after a lot of years, right? So yeah, that's the law. That's the law. I actually wanted to do a very separate video for this topic, that 1 out of 100th. It's actually, the more and more I see, the more and more I realize that, yeah, seeing itself is a karma. Okay, seeing itself, you're putting your energy, putting your focus into seeing, that itself is a karma, and sometimes even that is not needed. I think I'm gonna come to a point where I'm not even seeing. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that itself is a karma, to see, to put your focus, to put your energies into seeing. That itself is a karma sometimes. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it is a karma, but sometimes it's that is also not needed. So yeah, yeah, yeah. The point is to become like Shiva. Just close the eyes and like let everyone fuck around, and yeah. No, but he knows when to come. He comes, he takes avatars, and he goes through the most painful journeys of his time, of his life, and he comes into action. When he comes into action, it's once in a while, and it just changes the whole planet. So yeah, he'll take action 1 out of 100th time, and same as Krishna, 1 out of 100 time he'll use his darshan chakra. Most of the time he sees, oh my god, how much Krishna has been triggered his whole life. If you've seen Mahabharata, like, I've seen these serials. They used to come on our channel, so yeah, I've tried to see them, and they have tried to trigger Krishna so much, so much. They would be like, you cow herder, how, what do you know of politics, what do you know of being a king? And they try to poke him, insult him. Especially in a war, it happens a lot. Have you seen when men play? They kind of insult each other, poke each other a lot, because they want that reaction out of you. They put your energy and they want it back. They will put a little bit of energy out towards you, so that you multiply the energy and give it back to them, and you lose your focus. Men try to do that a lot in sports, in cricket, and a lot. I've seen it. So that's what they really want. That's what they really want. So yeah, and oh my god, the people try to poke Krishna a lot. Of course, now we worship Krishna, but at that point there was Shakuni, there were these Kaurav, and uh, yeah, they would really insult him and poke him and all sorts of things. They would tell, तू भगवान है, तुझे क्या, तू भगवान है, ऐसे बोलते थे कृष्णा को. तो so yeah, they would ranchhod bolte the उन्हें. You once Krishna decided to leave because this Jarasandh was coming. So उन्हें ऐसे चिढ़ाते थे कि तू तो रन छोड़ के भाग गया, तू तो you left the battleground. So they used to take his past events, and they try to poke at him. So yeah. But it's only once that Krishna would take his action. He would never lose his focus. He's so masculine and so feminine at the same time, Krishna. He's so masculine. He's such a self-control in you, very masculine. He knows when to act. You know, he's so much rooted in his masculinity, right? Yeah. Thank you for watching the video. So yeah, the spiritual wisdom that really liberates an empath is the fact that you have to leave people on their own karmas. Because if you do not, they will not come on the boat, but they will make sure that you also do not take that boat. So yeah, that's why.